And Pedro Juan, please feel welcome at stage. Big round of applause, please. Thank you. Please take it away whenever you feel like.
Thank you.
Já
All right. Thanks. The last panel before lunch, so we gotta get everyone. Whoop. Woo. Excitement.
Just to break some
Yeah,
glass.
let's just break some glass. Good luck. I'm very happy to be moderating this panel. We're getting concrete. I love it. We have some great representatives from industry here, and so we're going to get very concrete on this topic of electric mobility massification and building decarbonization for a sustainable future. On the panel with us today, we have Carla from Galp, who's the head of renewables and the Innovation Center, correct? Pedro Rao, who is the CEO and founder of Omniflow. We have João Felipe Núñez, Customer Service Director at Iredes, and André Calixov, the CEO of NextBit. My name is Catherine Bischoff. I'm the founder, former founder, and I sit on the board of Extreme Tech Challenge, which is the largest startup competition in the world. So I love seeing great ideas come to fruition and being commercialized and then being integrated through corporates into our industry. But let's get back to the topic. So we're sitting really at the critical intersection right now of two transformative trends. We've got decarbonization of buildings and the electrification of transportation. So these are two very important opportunities to combat not only climate change, but it really changes the way that we interact with our urban environment. So huge momentum, of course, in the EV space. Sales last year up till November were at about 15 million units, which is 25% more from the previous year. In China alone, in July last year, 50% of cars sold were EV cars. So major markets in the EU, of course, Europe, the US, China are seeing unprecedented growth in EV. That's thanks to, of course, a lot of efficiencies in battery, charging, and then on the other side of this coin, we see that buildings account for 40% of carbon emissions. So what does this intersection mean, and how does this convergence provide challenges and opportunities? And that's what we're really going to address here over the next 30 minutes with this great panel. So let's get it going. I'm going to start with like big picture, get into real use cases, and then followed by what does this collaboration between startups and industry really look like. So big picture, big question. How do you see decarbonization evolving in existing buildings and infrastructure? Let's have you take it away, André.
Okay, thanks a lot, Catherine. NextBit focus a lot in buildings and asset management. As you said, buildings are accountable for as much as 40% of the global carbon footprint related to energy consumption. And if you think about the ratio between buildings that have some kind of energy control versus the ones that don't have any kind of control, you see there's a huge path to go on there. So obviously we think that buildings play a major role in decarbonization, especially the existing ones and the older ones. And you need to invest a lot in terms of changing AVAC to more efficient equipment, insulation, thermal insulation, and especially technology. That's our vision, and we think that any decarbonization journey must take into account the existing buildings problem.
Mm-hmm. For you?
For me, and on the same topic, well, when we think about the existing buildings, we have three angles that we can actuate on. One is the electrification, the retrofit, and digitalization. So those three verticals, they can merge together, and we can do a lot of things. So in terms of retrofit, we are talking about simple things like LED lighting, like installing heat pumps or putting PV panels on it. If we if we took the angle of electrification and the installation of known gas systems, then we can be talking about more sophisticated kind of products or systems or services. But on where we can actually leverage on innovation is on digitalization of the existing buildings. Because all the systems that are there and the systems that we can install to retrofit and to electrify alone, they bring a certain level of decarbonization. But if we bring them together and bring them intelligence, then we will be talking about a different league. And here we have a hedge that can help us a lot with the smart systems, the smart grid, the smart the smart meters that bring us a lot of data and enables us to digitalize everything, and then everything can be connected. We can use our electrical vehicles to be as a storage system of the building, and we can actually store energy in our electric building when the sun is shining, and then bring electricity back to the building when during the night, for instance. Or we can do dynamic pricing, we can do demand response, and we can do a lot of things on the digitalization and AI standpoint.
So, good morning, everyone. We are a hedge. We distribute electric energy to 6.5 million customers in Portugal. We cover 99% of Portugal mainland. And we are the enablers, like Carla said, we are the enablers of energy transition because in the network connects the renewable energy that produce renewable energy, but also the electric mobility and the buildings. And let me say that today we have a double responsibility. We are responsible to keep the lights on, so if any problem appears, don't be panicked, we are here. But about buildings and the electric mobility, two things. First of all, we need to produce renewable energy. Otherwise, if we didn't, cars are exchanging petrol by gas. So we need it. The good news is that in Portugal, more than 70% of the energy produced is already renewable. And in Arredes, we have assisting to a huge connections. We had in 2021, 13 connections regarding big centrals that are connecting to our network. And the last year, it was more than 60. As you can see, we are growing a lot for who produces energy. Regarding buildings, two notes. Picking what Carla was saying, we have a smart grid. We have been investing in smart grids. We have 6.5 million smart meters everywhere. Every one of us can go to our digital counter and know your load profile to see if you are efficient or not. But better than it, you can allow another companies, data-driven companies, and companies that create more value to analyze your profiles and provide you new services or new products in order you to be more efficient. Regarding the electric mobility, just to say that this is also increasing a lot. We had 2 years ago kind of 500 connections. This year it was more than 2,000. And this shows the dynamic that you are saying about this growth. And we know that we have to do much more. And in Arredes, we have today specific teams for the renewable energies, for the self-consumption. Self-consumption is also fundamental in the buildings because produce part of the energy that buildings need locally and in a renewable way. And this is the path that we are doing here also in Arredes.
Thank you.
At OmniFlow, we provide sustainable smart city solutions. Our core product is a smart luminaire, which is powered on the edge by wind and solar. So we can basically retrofit lights that are consuming a lot of power or just providing a simple service of lighting. And by doing this, we reduce more than 90% the power consumption of a traditional light. So decarbonization, this infrastructure. But we can do much more than that. This is just a start. So for example, these luminaires can be equipped with advanced AI systems that detect available parking lot spaces. So a lot of the CO2 footprint of traffic is people looking for a place to park, right? So this can be installed on these existing street lights, right? and many other features, and of course, electric charging stations for electrical vehicles, which is the topic that brings us here today. But
yeah, great. Andre, just picking up on Nextbit and the role of software and technology. Can you get into that about how that technology and your software specifically plays a role and the scalability stage?
Sure. Well, basically, you can only reduce what you measure. That's the starting point. And it's much more than software, to be fair. Besides the software side, we have an IoT solution that is fully adaptable to either existing or new buildings, or, to be honest, any kind of physical asset management that can be addressed with this IoT. And obviously, on top of that, we have AI that wraps up all the data that is gathered and gives you actionable insights about it. But this is what we do at Nextbit, but the key differentiator is people. Basically, what we feel is that besides all the technology that we address and all the focus that we have in physical assets, it's basically having a very skilled team of consultants that help our customers and deliver projects in this specific niche of getting reduced carbon footprints from physical assets.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the pilots and the collaborations that are taking place for the three panelists from Galp, Eredis, and OmniFlow. I'm talking about the EV charging massification pilot. So the three of you have been working closely together on this, in its street lamp posts specifically, if I understand. So what are the key lessons that you've all pulled out of this collaboration? Anna? Sorry,
Okay.
Carla, please.
Lessons from this pilot project. So the first one is there is no single entity that knows it all. So we need to be together on this and create a team of entities with different angles of knowledge. So in this case, we have Galp. Galp is a charging point operator. It does not manufacture EV chargers, and it does not manufacture street lamps, and it doesn't control the grid. Okay, so we need to bring on board the entities that do this. So we have the chargers manufacturer. We have a startup with us that brings together charging points with street lamp posts, and we have a Redes that controls the grid. So why do we need a Redes? A Redes is responsible for turning the lights on in the cities, and the lights turns on during the night. And we want to charge the vehicles during the day and during the night. So we need someone to innovate on this and connect the street lamps that has those chargers installed. And this is called the point-to-point controller. And this is the innovation that Redes brought to this project. So together, we were able to bring to life this pilot project. Another lesson is don't assume that a specific supplier or a specific technology is ready to roll.
Sorry, is ready to roll?
Ready to roll, ready to be installed and deployed.
Sure.
In this case, OmniFlow, amazing product, too much advanced for in terms of LED lighting and the system, so we have to put these entities talking with each other so that the Redes could install and implement a point-to-point controller specifically to the product that OmniFlow is installing. So we cannot assume that a specific technology is ready to be deployed in the real environment. So those are the two lessons that we learned in the pilot project.
All right. For you?
I would say two things. The first one, like Carla mentioned, is collaboration. Sometimes in the power sector, the incumbent was working alone, don't work with the ecosystem, but in the last years, we started to create an ecosystem that have a lot of players in this market. And this is a very simple project in which we can extract more value from the street light points that already exists. And this is very simple. If you need to accelerate something, we need to try to extract more value from the existing infrastructure. Because applying technology on it to solve a problem, because we have a problem, we don't have many people without garage in their apartments and need to charge, and this is perfect to charge at night when people are sleeping. We are creating a new stream of value for all the system based on existing thing. And in Portugal, there are more than 50,000 streetlight points that with minor adjustments, some minor, some a little bigger than minor, we can make this. So imagine what appear this amount of charging stations for slow charging. It's amazing here, and with collaboration, we can extract new streams of value. We were not able to do it in the past.
Yeah, well, at OmniFlow, this is a very recent line of business because we started as a sustainable smart luminaire, and we didn't have the integrated EV charger. Right? But then we listened to the market. We found that there was a problem to integrate a charger inside of the pole itself. There are like some slim chargers that can be installed inside of the pole, but creates a lot of issues regarding who owns the pole, who owns the grid infrastructure, who owns the luminaire. All of these integrate with active elements inside the pole. The same if you want to attach outside charger into the pole. Creates a lot of hurdles. You have to drill the pole, you damage the pole. So we thought, well, let's build our EV charger. And it's actually our latest patent that we submitted late last year to integrate everything inside of the luminaire itself. So by doing this, and with the partnerships with Galp and Redes, we can simply retrofit the luminaire, and in 15 minutes, without damaging the pole or creating any active element inside of the pole, we have an EV charger. So we have a huge asset of how many streetlights?
15,000.
50,000
more easy to
lights,
implement because we have kind of 1 million, but 50,000 are more easy to implement. And they're in the places in when we can charge.
And there is already like a good network of fast chargers, but I think there is a huge demand for slow chargers where people can leave the cars charging over longer periods, and this is the perfect solution.
Who instigated the pilot? I'm curious. How did it come to be the pilot? Was it from the corporate side? Did you approach Galp? Like, how did all of this come to collaborate?
It all started in ideation process at Galp, and we initiated the process of finding the right partners, and the right partners are people that are involved in the street lamp business or ecosystem, which are who is manufacturing street lamps and who are controlling the street lamps.
Okay, so that kind of flows well into the next, very mindful of the time, some advice to startups about this type of collaboration, and based on your experience, kind of the advice that you specifically would give to founders and engineers working on their solutions. You mentioned a bit of it at the beginning. Like, how do you move beyond the pilot project? How does that then get integrated in a more meaningful manner and a scalable manner?
Yeah, so my advice to startups that are willing to collaborate with corporates is always measure the success of the pilot project and measure the return on investment. This is very important. Beyond the pilot, is this scalable? Is profitable? Or are we saving money with this? In this case, it's both. We are creating a new revenue stream for the company, but at the same time, we are saving a lot of costs because of the construction that is avoided when installing new charging points, in this case. So always measure the success. And the success could be, going back to decarbonization, measure the CO2 avoidance. It could be also a measure of success. But always bear in mind that pilot projects are not a success by itself. It's only a success if we can scale it up. So bear in mind that we need to calculate always the return on investment.
João?
I would say, first of all, we need to know better each other's, because if any company knows, for instance, Redes provides a lot of data. Some of you didn't know that. We have an open data platform, we can use it and transform it. If we know each other and what each company can provide to the other, I think it's the first thing. The second, like Carla said, we need to have the end game in mind, but you have to pilot. Yeah. Because if you don't pilot, as you know, in the Excel, in the PowerPoint, it's amazing. You have to test it, and some kind of patience, because sometimes you are the guys of the regulation and security, so some kind of patience from the technology companies that wants the things tomorrow. Sometimes it's not possible tomorrow, but maybe it's possible after tomorrow, and this ecosystem must grow in this way.
From the startup perspective, please.
Yeah, well...
and under a minute, because then I have one more question.
In our case, we want also this pilot to be used and to prove that we can do much more than just the EV charger. EV charger is an opportunity also for other services that will benefit a lot the citizens. So, for example, if you want to leave your car charging at night, you want to make sure that it's safe for the car to be there, right? I had my wheels stolen 2 times in the middle of the city, right? So imagine a charger with security aspects, also a charger that informs you exactly if it's occupied or not. So far, a charger, if you park your car and you don't put it to charge, it says it's free, but you arrive there and it's occupied with a combustion car. If you drive electric, you know this is a familiar situation. So we want this pilot to also be used to demonstrate that there's a lot of other features that are real right now, and we can make it happen, and we are here to make it happen.
So to close it off, I'd like every panelist to share a key takeaway or a call to action about accelerating decarbonization and electric mobility. And we'll start with you, André.
Well, my point of view is that we need to refocus society, to be honest. In the last couple of months, concerns about ESG and decarbonization are getting away from the major concerns, and things are getting a lot darker, and obviously we need to do whatever it's in our reach to refocus in these kind of objectives that are much healthier to everyone.
And I think Europe has a great role now to step up and into. But for you?
Yeah, so up to now, legislation was a big hurdle, but Galp and Redes did the initial pilot that opened this possibility of using the street lights. So this is a great first step that we are here to applaud.
Yeah. I think my advice and the last takeaway is challenges, because we are an incumbent company. We are a regulated company. Of course, we have to comply with the regulation and safety, but we can make many things together using your approach and using what we need to maintain. And never forget, this is not only about the decarbonization. We are talking about the decarbonization, but it's more than it. Today, we are living in a crazy world, so things related to independence, security of supply. We are very lucky to have natural resources, so we need to accelerate all of this.
Well, my main takeaway is that we are missing here in the panel a big piece of the puzzle, which are the municipalities. We can't do nothing in the streets without the municipality approval. And those can be, how can I say, less agile, okay, than we would expect. So from the beginning, we need to bring all the players, all the stakeholders on the table and discuss everything end to end. Because we 3 of us, in terms of massification, we did an amazing job. The product is ready to be scaled up. but who owns the streets?
Yeah.
The municipalities.
Yeah, I love that, Carla.
So-
So on that note, if you could all name the city that has done the best job of this in Europe or in the world for you.
Yeah. The best city, well, our first pilot project was launched in Cascais. So I would say that Cascais is doing an amazing job in becoming more agile in terms of approving all the pilot projects for a more sustainable city. But I wouldn't say that Cascais is better than any other municipalities. I just say that they have a different way of approaching these pilot projects, and probably those lessons learned by them can be implemented by others. On the buildings, again, municipalities, but also regulation and incentives. Incentives are key for residential and enterprise customers start investing in new systems to decarbonize the buildings. Without incentives, things we won't, decarbonization will not evolve as fast as we wish.
All right. Our time is up. I'd like to thank you for this interesting talk and encourage much more collaboration between innovative ideas, startups, and then with obviously our municipalities, grid owners, and industry. So thank you so much and have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much.